Friday morning. Gonna be a nice day. Saying close to 60 degrees. A lot of the snow's already melted off here. First day I've been on the job site in a week. The last time we were over here was last Tuesday. Where the big green machine is here. One thing I noticed, I'm always looking around at things. I'm always got a close eye on my job sites. I don't know, it's almost like I keep a mental picture in my head of what things look like when I leave, when I come back. One thing I noticed this morning when I pulled in down here off the road was footprints. There's two sets of footprints going up through here in the snow, which is melted off, but you can see them. They kind of pick back up right in there. Don't know, stuff like that always makes me nervous. I didn't see any tracks around the skidder. Man, we've had equipment vandalized before, and I'm always really nervous about stuff like that, because you never know what people are going to do anymore. People can't leave things alone. They always want to mess with things, and sometimes it's other loggers that want to mess with your stuff, and we've run into that before too. And there's nothing more aggravating than other loggers wanting to mess with your stuff or talk down on you or whatever it may be. So everything looks fine. We're going to see if the old girl will fire up and let her be warming up, and we're going to see if we can get some wood on the ground. Old girl just fires right up. Even though it wasn't real cold this morning, it's nice. Just no hesitation. Turn the key, things happen. Now I did last week before it got cold last Tuesday. I did put a container of diesel 911 in the fuel system to kind of combat against these cold temperatures. This ground out here is pretty frozen, but you get under the snow on the back part of the farm, it's mud from all the rain we had before the snow and ice. Dad's in here cutting. I've got my saw and do a little cutting. Maybe we can get this finished up today. Perfect. Now, what I wanted to do was miss this little walnut tree over here because it was wanting to fall back in it. Now, we did run a risk of hitting that, but we got lucky and didn't. So what I did here, as you've seen, I left part of the spur over here hold. And when it fell, it kind of pulled it back this way, out into here instead of going straight over here. It's a good fall right there. Just right there in that hole where we wanted it. Missed that little tree there. Missed this other good young tree. Few broken limbs there in the very top, but for the most part, minimal damage.
skidder driver, I always thought you had quite a bit of responsibility on your hands. Especially if you grew up like I did, running a skidder, working behind two guys cutting. Because when I grew up logging, it was always Dad and Kenny were cutting, and I got stuck on the skidder. Which at a young age, I thought the skidder was the greatest thing in the world. I did. Like I dreamed, when I was a kid, I dreamed about having a skidder like we have now. That's all I ever wanted. I mean, all I ever wanted was have a nice skidder. But now we got a nice skidder. All I want to do is cut trees. So it's kind of crazy how the turn of events happens. Now, granted, when I have to run the skidder, it's nice to be able to sit in here and the comfort, the heat and air, everything be fast like it is. Somewhat, when I can run things right. But back to what I was saying about a lot of responsibility. So as a skidder driver, I always thought, you know, you got two guys that are cutting in front of you. Even though you're kind of the low man on the totem pole, you've always got to check on everybody's well-being. You know, whenever I was dragging logs behind Dad and Kenny, I'd make a drag from where Dad was cutting, and I'd go make a drag from where Kenny was cutting. You always make sure that they're doing all right. They don't need anything. They're not hung up, pinched, in any kind of trouble. So you're always checking on their well-being when you're the skidder man. That's kind of how I always looked at it anyway. And kind of the same deal now with, you know, when Dad's cutting, like this morning when I get a cut, I'll try to go get a drag from my bunch of logs where I've cut. Then I'll come to the part of the timber where Dad's at and try to get some of his logs, check on him, make sure he's getting along all right, and just keep that rotation going. Works out pretty good. Starting to get greasy out here. Hopefully we can get everything out before it just turns to a complete mess. Renter come by this morning. He kind of oversees all of the farm. He just wanted to make sure we were getting along all right on cutting, kind of look at what was going on. His big request is don't tear his field up, which I can definitely understand that. Not really sinking down any, we're just slopping along, which is good. We don't want to cut any ruts. It's still frozen enough that we're not going to sink down, but I sure wish we had some chains on right now. Rarely ever here in southwest Missouri do we get the kind of winters where we need chains, and if we do, like right now, it's just a very short period, like maybe in southwest Missouri, maybe a week or two at most every year. Now, northern Missouri, my experience working up there is a little different story, but you get north of that Missouri River, the weather's just a little different. They definitely get a lot more cold weather and snow than we get down here. She's starting to thaw out, so this is probably my last drag today. We don't want to make too big of a mess. Told the renter that I would be more than happy to bring the skid steer back over and slick up anything we kind of roughed up. That ain't no big deal. We got one more here, big rough tree to get out. Ton of young trees in here, very promising. Told the renter this morning, hopefully in about 5 to 7 years, we'll come back and hit this part of the farm again. We're going to leave some decent sized trees here to be cut now, just to kind of sweeten that pot up down the road. I think this will be the last tree here, I think, unless Dad has orders to tell me otherwise. Kind of a short-bodied, ugly thing. It had a few dead limbs growing in it. I think we can run quite a ways up in the tree for a log if we can get it to kind of come down where we can get it topped. It's kind of a gnarly dead one. Limbs going everywhere. Trimmed up right there. You can kind of see what I mean here by kind of an ugly, gnarly thing. We'll try to salvage a short 6er out of this. It's got the size we could run for a 6. That piece there is questionable. We'll get it to the deck and see if we can clean it up. It cut off good, but like I said, you know, with anything that got bad limbs like this, they're a crapshoot, and that thing's got some sweep in it, and that limb there, so hopefully we can make some cuts to get it straightened out. We can still utilize it, because as you guys know, I don't like to leave anything to waste if we can take it to market. Yeah, just kind of big ugly trees that need to come out, help improve the overall stand, because pretty much about everything you see in here is walnut and hackberry, and it's real heavy on walnut. There's some good sized trees like that coming along. It's a really pretty stand. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.